All right, I just wanted to record a rebuttal video to my boy Cameron's video here about why the paper lead model is broken. No, I thought it was a great video, really interesting to see his take on the paper lead model. He's worked with people in it, so it's not like he's just coming from an outside point of view. But I'm also in paper lead, obviously myself, been in it for 4 years, run a successful agency, and just want to give you a sort of a rebuttal on some of his points. So yeah, let's play the video, and I'll just pause and give you my thoughts.
You should go for it or not. And the exact pricing model that we personally use at our agency that I believe is better than both collectively, a retainer and paper lead. So that being said, let's dive in. I'm going to pull up my iPad. Now, the first thing you need to understand about the paper lead model is the way that it works. Very, very simple, right? You have businesses. They come to you and you literally say, hey, Mr. Client, which is usually more commonly like blue collar niches. This is where it's more probable to make sense. So you're looking at industries that can either go
First point I would say is no. I always recommend going for white collar industries like finance, insurance, law. That makes it more scalable. Not saying you can't do paper lead with blue collar, home improvement, roofing, things like that. It can be done. Just doesn't lend itself as well as white collar industries.
nationwide where you can scale the ad spend to 100, 200, 300k a month and they're okay. Or you're looking at industries like remodelers, roofers, tree removal companies, people that always need leads on a consistent basis. And as well, more importantly, businesses that are conditioned to pay for leads. If you look at, if we take an example, remodelers, they are conditioned to pay for leads historically. Why? Because they have platforms like Angie's List. They have platforms like mycraftsman.com, which I can't be asked to type out. All these platforms, what they basically do is they are big lead vendors. So if you've ever heard of the platform Angie's List, all they are is a lead vendor. So they work with service-based blue-collar businesses, and they basically have people go to their platform when they need a specific thing, like whether it be a remodeling job, a kitchen, a bathroom, a roof, so on and so forth. What Angie's List then do is they get all these leads, and they work with companies. So these remodelers, these roofers, all pay a subscription, or they pay per lead to Angie's List. And what Angie's List then does is it looks at all the clients they have. So there's a roofer here, a remodeler here, and a beauty salon here, and it distributes the leads to the people that are closest to that person with the best reputation, right? Now, the problem with the pay per lead model, if we look at Angie's List as an example, is number one, you're getting paid per lead, say like $30. But the problem is, a lot of the time, you are the one covering the ad spend. So what that basically means is, when you sign a client on the pay per lead model, let's say you go to a tree removal company, and you're going to charge usually anywhere from like 10, or let's say like 20, to $75 per lead. Now, you're going to go to that company, and you're literally not going to have a commitment. You can't commit them down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. They're going to pay per lead. And what you're going to do is you're literally just going to run ads for them. So the benefit of this model, to be clear, is it is incredibly simple. You're running ads, you're getting them leads, you're sending it to the tree removal company, that is it. Your fulfillment is so simple, which means it is a high margin business model. But the problem is, when someone's paying for a lead, it leaves all of the room for them to complain and bitch and whine, and the churn is through the roof. I know this because, again, I know a number of different pay per lead agencies that struggle with all of these things. Because when you're just running ads, and you're giving the client like a spreadsheet with a bunch of leads, the problem is, this client is going to look at these leads that you're getting them, and they're going to go, hold on, this is a shit lead.
Okay, so two things here. One, he's talking about clients wanting to return leads they're not happy with. So all you need to do is have a document that lists out all the fields and filters the client agrees on. Minimum deal size, minimum job size is this, things you can't accept as a lead. Cool. You agree on all the fields and filters. Any lead that meets that criteria is a valid lead, and you cannot replace any leads. You just have a simple contractual agreement. I have one in my school community, and it's just like the only reason we replace a lead is dead ringtone and hoax. So someone answers the phone and says, I'm not the person named on this form. And that is solved by one thing, and that is SMS PIN verification, which means the phone numbers are always working, and you cannot really, it's really impossible almost to hoax a lead that way, like put in someone else's number like your mum or your friends, because that would mean your mum or your friend would have to put in the SMS PIN verification number, and they're not going to do that. So So that sort of nullifies the whole point of returns and clients bitching and moaning about leads. The other thing you got to explain to clients is leads are a numbers game. You send them 10 internet leads, very likely only convert 1 out of 10. That is pretty standard for online leads if they're decent. And so educating a client about not every lead is a referral, not every lead is going to be a goal. It's a numbers game, and clients should know this. And this is why I teach only selling to clients that have bought leads before and know how to call and follow up leads. Eliminates this headache completely.
This is a shit lead. This is a shit lead. I only want to pay for this one, right? And again, you're the one a lot of the time, no, all the time as a matter of fact in this model, paying for the client's ad spend. So what happens?
I'm not sure where he gets that from. I always teach to charge up front. I charge up front in my agency. It's common practice that if a client wants leads, they pay up front. If you can't deliver the leads, you just refund them for whatever you can't deliver. It doesn't happen very often. But yeah, do not do pay per lead on an arrears basis or post pay, because that will open yourself up.
Let's say you know your average CPL in tree removal is $20, right? And you're charging like a 2 to 3x markup on that lead, which means you're charging, let's say on the low end, like $40 per lead. If you know that 50% of the leads that you bring your client are going to come in and the client's going to bitch and say they're unqualified, well, what's going to happen is your real cost per lead in terms of how much you're classing as a qualified lead in terms of what you're actually going to get billed for is $40, which means you spend $40 on ads to get a lead for a client they actually classify as qualified, and then you get paid $40, which means you pretty much fucking break even, right? This is one of the...
Yeah, so that's simply fixed by having PIN verification and no replacements except for leads that do not meet criteria. And then also, pad in your margin. If you do replace 10% of leads, make sure your margin covers for that. So if the Facebook CPL is 20 and 10% of leads are being replaced, well, your effective CPL is like $22. So make sure you charge at least 50% on top of that. So you're charging 36 to 44 a lead. So just cover it in your margin and you're sweet.
Things that nobody tells you about the pay-per-lead model. On top of that, you've got to be okay with fronting the ad spend for your...
Again, this is the same point I just mentioned. Just charge up front. It's standard practice. So I'll move on to his next point about... What is it here?
Problem number 3 is, on top of this, your clients have zero commitment, which means there is absolutely nothing stopping you and stopping them from... You acquire the client, you're down $1,000. You then start spending money on ads for those clients. Let's say you spend...
Again, his whole argument comes from the incorrect premise that pay-per-lead clients don't pay up front, and they do. So clients' commitment is significantly greater when they pay up front, which I teach. And so this whole point is moot as well.
Spend $500. Then you get here, and guess what happens? The client's like, oh, the leads are shit, they're unqualified, or they ghost you. Because why? Because they have no fucking skin in the game. They have...
Yeah, I mean, only a noob would agree to sell leads on a pay per lead and then not charge anything until they've delivered the leads. And so I'm sure people have made this mistake, but as I teach in my community, just charge up front, even if it's for a small batch of trial leads, 20 to 30 leads initially, charge up front. It's a very small commitment for the client, and it's a good way to weed out clients that actually are willing to get their wallet out and test different lead sources.
And again, I'm not condoning you just sell retainers. I think retainers are a very easy service to cancel. I can tell you a very, very common issue in this model is the churn. The churn is dreadful.
Okay, so yeah, he's saying the churn is dreadful. I will admit, yeah, it's higher churn than retainer because it's easier to stop buying leads. So we have clients all the time that might buy leads, 2 or 3 batches, and then they stop, and we may never hear from them again, or we hear from them 6 months down the line, right? But if they were retainer clients, they probably would have stuck because they're paying monthly, right? But the other thing is, he doesn't mention, retainer clients will hound you and call you all day long and abuse you if the leads are not good and if the campaign's not working. So do you want that? Like, I don't get any of that with pay per lead. I don't get any clients calling me asking Well, what are you doing today? Why aren't you making my leads better, right? So it depends what you want. Like if you want bosses that are paying you all the time, your retainer clients are going to be your boss. Like you're gonna, whatever they say, however high they say to jump, you just have to do it. Pay per lead, you're free. You don't have to do what the client asked. You don't have to make any changes to the ads. You don't have to turn the campaigns on and off. You own the asset, which is such a massive advantage. So yes, churn is higher, but again, because the offer is so good, the offer is so easy to say yes to. Like, do you want 20 leads? Do you want 30 leads that could blow up your business and be much better than any other lead source? Then it's an obvious yes. So the churn is higher, but then the ability to sell and bring on clients is equally higher. So it kind of, again, just offsets that completely.
This model, it is very, very common for, like, you know, in the typical agency model, even if, like, and again, model, there's going to be certain clients that will pay you a significant amount, like this, like this, and you're going to have what we call key client risk, meaning, let's say you have 5 clients, right? You're client 1, client 2, client 3, client 4, client 5. Client 1 might be spending like 50k a month on ads or a big dog, which means you might make from that client like 10k a month. But then client number 2, you might make like $500 from. Client 3, you might make like 1k from. The point I'm trying to make here is you're going to have key risk with 1 or 5 certain clients, depending on how many clients you have, which ultimately means, like, say a buyer went to buy your business if you want to exit.
Yeah, he's talking about having whale clients and smaller clients. And this is just a power law. It's the 80-20 rule. You show me any agency, I'll show you one massive client and smaller clients around that client. Like we had a retainer agency and it was the same. Problem is retainer agency, you know, that client is paying you like a 15k a month retainer. So you hire staff, you hire a lot of staff around that, you build your team around that. And when they go, it decimates your business. Like you've got wage staff that you have to keep paying them, and then you have to go and replace it with another whale client, and like good luck with that. I'm sure a lot of you know how hard it is to find whale clients on retainer. And then now I've got whale clients that buy leads. You know, they spend 30 to 40k a month over month, and yeah, whether I've got 3 whale clients or 30 small clients, I've still got myself, a media buyer, and 2 VAs running the business. Like, it doesn't mean I scale up the business when a whale client comes on buying leads, because there's no more work to do. All I do is increase the budget on the Facebook ad account. Like, it's that simple. You cannot compare how much easier it is managing whale clients on pay-per-lead than retainer. Like, it's a completely different ballgame. On retainer, you're sweating every night, worrying they're leaving. You're trying to figure out how to take them out and smooth them. You're figuring out what to buy them for a Christmas gift. Like, you do not want them to leave ever. And that is a very terrible place to live. Trust me, I've been there. So it doesn't even compare. So again, I disagree that there's client risk with pay-per-lead, again, because the offer is easy to sell and the offer is easy to scale. So you do not need to build a huge team around a large lead buying client.
They're never going to buy something like that because you have key client risk, which means majority of your revenue is coming from a small subset of clients, and they see that as very volatile. You don't have them locked in on a contract because you can't really do that in pay-per-lead, and they can leave at any given moment, okay? So these are the key things that you need to keep in mind, where usually what we find with pay-per-lead businesses is the revenue line usually looks like this. It might go up, it'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Usually, with a service-based agency, it will be the complete opposite end of that. It will usually be, it will just gradually go up very, very slowly as they stack MRR, monthly recurring revenue.
Yep, he's right there, actually. Yeah, pay-per-lead businesses tend to be more up and down revenue-wise. Like, we hover around 200k a month, but we've been up to 300, down to 150, and some of that is just accounting and the way the months line up on our sheet. And then profit changes depending on your CPL that month. So if you're in November, which is a high CPA month, your profit is going to be less. And if you're in January, a low CPM month, you're going to have a higher profit, right? So yes, it comes with the territory. There's more volatility. And so you have to stack cash or put money away when you're having a really good month. So that's something you'll learn with pay-per-lead. But I will admit, yeah, he's correct here.
The pay-per-lead model is extremely volatile. All it takes is one client to test another pay-per-lead business. Because again, this service is commoditized. There's a lot of people doing it. All it takes is for them to test somebody else who has a $5 cheaper cost per lead than you, and then they immediately just fire us. And then you...
Yeah, there's some truth there, but like, so is agency. Like, any retainer agency is extremely commoditized. Like, hey, I'll run your Facebook ads and Google ads for a fee. Like, that's everyone's offer. And there's probably 50 retainer agencies for every one pay-per-lead agency. And so, because most retainer agencies are not specialists and they are generalists and work with multiple industries, they never become that good at one particular type of lead. They're probably good to okay at finance leads and roofing leads, etc. But if you just do pay-per-lead in roofing and that's all you do, you're going to get better and better and better. And your ads are going to get better and your funnel's going to get better and your feedback from clients means you're going to improve the lead quality, and that's going to create a competitive advantage for you. Show me someone in 12 months' time who's just done one type of lead, and then show me someone else who's doing multiple leads for multiple service types, and the guy doing one thing is just going to be streets ahead. His lead quality is going to be streets ahead. So that is why pay-per-lead is superior, because you niche down into one vertical and you get very, very good at that one vertical, and your leads become so good that clients do not want to leave. And that is what I teach. The quality leads is the key to this game, not cheap leads, but there is a way to get both. So that's my rebuttal to that.
Lose your biggest retainers, and you're straight back down to where you was. But your overhead is still higher, which means your margin is going to shrink. Okay, moving on.
But your overhead should be literally a few VAs and a media buyer, and you can even do the media buying yourself. So your overhead should really only be a few $1,000 on pay-per-lead. So you can absorb the loss of a client. Whereas when I had a retainer agency, we had a real office, we had 12 staff, we had, I think it was 30 to 40K a month fixed overhead before we could even like make a profit.
To the next problem, and again, I know I'm just shitting on this model, but again, to be clear, there is a number of pros that come with this model as well. Number 4, it is a commodity and it is easy. Now, you might have heard of the term, and like I got this from Amazon, Jeff Bezos, you must eat the customer's complexity, which means the more of the complexity you can eat for the customer, the more money you will make in the long run. Pay-per-lead is commoditized and it is incredibly easy. And what happens is, when people come into this model and realize all you need to know how to do is to run an ad, which is like the easiest thing of running an agency, the easiest thing. The hard thing is getting those leads and turning them into bookings, and then getting them to show, and then getting them to close, right? And if all you do is control this piece of the puzzle and charge like, $40 per lead, there is nothing stopping 50 other people, which by the way, there is many people selling courses on the pay-per-lead model now, and when everybody's in the same bucket, selling the same thing to the same people, to the same niches, all they're going to do is, because it is such an easy offer to say yes to, is they're just going to compare like 5, 10, 15 different agencies until eventually one of them gets it right. And then, not to mention, the minute someone comes to one of these businesses that they pay you, charge them per lead for, an agency that goes to them and says, hey, I don't even want you to pay me per lead, I'm going to pay you per appointment, it's a way more attractive offer. It's like, who would you rather go with, right? If you had a choice, would you rather go with Amazon?
I'll say appointments are fraught with danger. It's very hard to verify appointments and sell them. It's very hard to verify that the lead showed up and to track them. So I would stay away from paper appointment. But his point around commoditizing, everyone doing the same thing in paper lead, I don't think it's anywhere near saturation. I think it's still quite a hard business to set up, in the sense that you have to create a brand. So create a unique brand that stands out, and you have to be able to generate the leads for cheap, but they also have to be good quality. So if it was that easy, there'd be a lot more paper lead agencies, but they're not, because people find it hard to generate the leads at quality and cost that's acceptable. And yeah, so I disagree that it's going to be super competitive and commoditized.
When you get instant 24/7 support, you get a 24-hour delivery time, or would you rather shop for all of your goods on Alibaba, where you're...
In addition, like, he's talking about solving more problems than just lead generation. Yes, you can offer help with the speed to lead element. So we offer an AI bot that is in Go High level, and then it follows up leads instantly for clients and helps book appointments. We charge $500 a month. Like, it's just an easy upsell, right? Most of our clients don't want it. They just have CRMs and sales systems in place, and that's fine. So yeah, you can actually sell more than just leads, and you do need to differentiate yourself in some way. Most paper leaders run Facebook ads, so get good at YouTube ads and run those, and get good at TikTok ads and run those too. 80% of paper lead companies just run Facebook ads, so you can say, hey, we run across Google, TikTok, and Facebook, and that's a point of difference. I know people doing paper lead, generating the leads through cold calling and cold texting lists of data, so there's no media buying there. So there's multiple ways to do it, and even cold email, you can get the leads in any way you can.
You're going to have to wait 30 business days to get what you want. It's from China and it's shit quality. This is basically the comparison here, where if you look at somebody that's looking at signing on and getting an agency, let's say we just take like an average agency client, say a local business, right? And they start with like a paper lead agency, and they're paying like $40 per lead, right? But let's say like, they know that 50% of them are shit, and they have to do everything. They have to convert those leads into bookings. They then have to get them to show. They then have to get them to close. Then, let's say agency number 2 comes to them that does pay per booking, right? Which literally just says, look, Mr. Client, instead of you just paying per lead, guess what we're going to do? We're going to take control of the lead process, the booking process, the show process, and all you need to do is close the leads. And on top of that, we're actually going to train you with our best clients on how to close. It is obviously a far superior offer. So then when the client is looking at this, they're like, well, why the fuck would I pay this guy $40 for a shit lead when only 1% of them convert, when I can pay this guy $200 per booking, which is fundamentally the same model. We're just taking control of more of the acquisition process, right? And you get more. You control more of the acquisition process, and you are no longer selling something that is easy to replicate. Building a call center is hard. Getting people to show is hard. Financially qualifying leads is hard. Not every agent shit, and the retainer model is shit. What model should I actually run when it comes to pricing my services? And this is exactly how I would price my agency, exactly as we're doing now, in 2026. I would do it in one of 2 ways. Now, path 1 is you do a retainer plus a performance model, and this is what we do. So what we do is we charge 7K upfront for 90 days. Okay, now this is our retainer. After the 90 days, they then pay 2.5K a month. Now, why do we do this? Less volatility, consistent MRR. It means that through time, my MRR is going to stack, and I'm going to gradually keep growing regardless, okay? I'm not going to be on this constant volatility cycle that you get with pay per lead. And then I would have the performance arm. So the way that I would do the performance arm is I would charge per booking. So this is what we do. So we charge $40 per appointment our call center books, which means we have the safety net, the 2.5K a month, which covers all of our expenses. For context, our cost of fulfillment is around $600 a month, which means we already net 1.9K a month without the performance. Now, our average client gets around 20 appointments a month. If we do 20 times 40, that's 800, which means on average, the average client is going to pay us around 3.3K a month. And then, of course, what we're going to do from there, we're going to try and upsell them, right? Because as they start making an ROI on this 3.3K a month that they spend on ads and the retainer that they pay us, so on and so forth, they're going to scale their ad spend. And we're going to make more in performance fees, okay? Now, that's path number 1. Path number 2 is just performance. Now, this makes more sense if you are in a niche that is very, very high ticket. So I have a client, his name is Benjamin, he does around 75K a month in remodeling, and he does this exceptionally well. Basically, very simply put, you would just charge something between the neighborhood of around $100 to $300 per appointment. And again, you want to run the economics and see which one of these makes sense for your model. So for example, if I was in remodeling and I knew that the average job that I can get my client is going to generate them like 20K, right? Me facilitating and charging them anywhere from like $100, $300, $500 per booking actually makes sense. So for example, if I bring my client an average of 10 jobs a month, I charge $300, that means...
Yeah, look, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's many ways to skin the cat. Every model has pros and cons, so you've got to pick what suits you as a person, as a business owner. His way has a lot of merit, and I'm sure you can make a lot of money doing that. And he's right; you'll have more control over the funnel and potentially better results for the client, more stickiness. Totally works, right? So I'm sure he can take home, good amount of money and whatever he needs to make doing this model. And you can do the same with pay per lead if you want to do it with pay per lead. So really, it's just about finding what is the right model for you, trying some different approaches and seeing what it's actually like not what gurus tell you. And you actually have to do it to see it for real and experience it, because there's no way I or anyone else can tell you exactly how it's going to be. And you're going to have challenges no matter what method you choose. There's going to be headaches and difficulties and problems to solve. So yeah, pick your battles. Find what suits your strengths. If you are more on the media buying strength side and prefer not to have client communications and lots of calls all day, then I think paper lead's a good model. If you're happy to liaise with clients regularly and build more of a team, in person in an office, then his model or the more traditional retained agency model probably works for you. So there's no right or wrong. I just wanted to reply to some of his comments and give you my perspective from a paper lead agency owner doing 200K a month on average. So I just wanted to give you my perspective. And yeah, cool. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.